We're dreaming of reaching our first 1,000 subscribers. Subscribe and be the first to discover new stories every day. It was a Tuesday night, the kind where the house felt too still, like it was waiting for something to break. Emily and I were in bed, the TV off, just the low hum of the AC and the faint glow of the streetlights slipping through the blinds. I'd had a long day at work, spreadsheets, meetings, the usual grind, and all I wanted was to feel some connection, something normal. I reached over, resting my hand lightly on her thigh, not pushing for anything, just a quiet gesture after 8 years of marriage. Her body went stiff, like I'd touched a hot stove. She moved away from my touch, her voice cutting through the dark, sharp and icy. "You can stop touching me, Matt. I don't want to be close to you anymore." My heart kicked up, a dull thud in my chest, my fingers curling slightly as I pulled my hand back. The words weren't just a rejection. They were a blade, spat out to cut deep. My throat tightened, but I forced my voice to stay steady, low, like I was commenting on the weather. "All right, Em. If that's how it is, there's no point sharing a bed. I don't sleep next to strangers." She didn't even glance at me, just rolled over, grabbed her phone, and cranked the brightness to max, the screen lighting up the room like a damn floodlight. My jaw clenched, my teeth grinding so hard I felt it in my skull. I grabbed my pillow, my movements slow and deliberate, and walked out. My pulse was racing, but I kept my steps even. The guest room mattress was lumpy, the sheets cold, but it was better than lying next to someone who'd just drawn a line in the sand. Sleeping apart? Fine by me. Living apart? That thought was already sprouting roots. The next morning, I was up at dawn, brewing coffee in the kitchen. The house was quiet except for the gurgle of the coffee maker and the faint clink of my mug on the granite counter. I opened my banking app, my fingers moving with calm precision. I disconnected Emily's card from our joint account. Gas, dry cleaning, yoga classes, DoorDash orders. All the little things she never blinked at. Gone. My shoulders relaxed as I hit confirm, a weight lifting off my chest. If she wanted distance, I'd give her the full package, no half measures. My pulse was steady, but there was a quiet fire in my gut, like I'd just taken back something she'd been holding hostage. By noon, she noticed. I was in the living room, parked on the couch with my laptop, answering work emails, when she stormed in, her purse slamming onto the floor with a thud. The fridge door banged shut, and she spun around, her voice dripping with venom. "Are you fucking serious, Matt? My card got declined at yoga. In front of the whole class. What the hell is this?" I didn't look up, my fingers still tapping the keyboard, though my neck was hot, my heart pounding. "You wanted distance, Em," I said, my voice flat but pointed, like I was stating a fact. "Now you've got it. That's the bill." She stepped closer, her arms crossed, her eyes blazing. "This is so petty," she snapped, her voice loud, mocking, like she was trying to shame me into crumbling. "You think this makes you look like some big man?" Cutting me off like I'm a kid, I leaned back, finally meeting her gaze, my lips twitching into a half smile that I knew would sting. "Nah, Em. It just means I'm done carrying your weight." My voice was low, controlled, but every word was a dart. "You said I'm a stranger. Strangers don't get free rides." Her face froze, her mouth half open, no comeback ready. She huffed, her hands balling into fists. "You're pathetic," she spat, her voice shaking with rage. "You're doing this to punish me." I chuckled, dry and sharp, leaning forward slightly. "Punish you? No. I'm just done being your ATM." I paused, letting the words sink in, my eyes locked on hers. "You drew the line, Em. I'm just standing on my side of it." She stepped closer, her voice dropping, trying to sound wounded. "You're making this about money, Matt. It's not about that, and you know it." Her tone softened, like she was flipping to a new script, playing the victim now. I tilted my head, my smile tight. "Then what's it about, Em? Go ahead, tell me." My voice was calm, but my heart was racing, a mix of anger and satisfaction. "Because last I checked, you're the one who said you don't want me near you. So I'm respecting that." Her lips pressed tight, her cheeks flushing red. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her hands trembling. "You're such an asshole," she muttered, turning away, her voice barely audible. "Funny," I said, my tone light but cold. "That's what strangers call each other." She grabbed her keys and stormed out, the door slamming behind her. My hands were steady, but my chest hummed with adrenaline, like I'd just won a round I didn't know I was fighting. The next evening, the house was a battlefield of silence. I was in the kitchen, grilling a steak for myself, the sizzle filling the quiet. I remembered how we used to cook together, Emily chopping vegetables, me handling the meat, music playing low in the background. Now it was just me, and the silence felt cleaner, sharper. I flipped the steak, my jaw tight, and pushed the memory away. Emily was on the couch, clutching a throw pillow, her tablet blaring some trashy reality show at max volume. The noise grated on my nerves, each fake laugh like a needle in my temples. I was about to put on headphones when the front door opened, and Lauren, Emily's best friend, walked in, her sneakers squeaking on the hardwood. She froze, her eyes darting between us. "Whoa," she said, her voice cautious but nosy. "What's the vibe in here? You guys fighting or what?" Emily sat up, tossing her hair back, her voice loud and theatrical. "Oh, Matt's just decided that if I don't want him near me, he gets to cut me off financially. Real classy, right? He's basically holding his wallet over my head like some kind of power trip." I set the spatula down, my fingers tingling with irritation, and walked into the living room, wiping my hands on a dish towel. "You're mixing things up, Em," I said, my voice steady but sharp, locking eyes with her. "This isn't about control. It's me done bankrolling your lifestyle. You want to be roommates? Fine. Roommates split the bills." Emily's face flushed, her mouth working like she was scrambling for a comeback. "You're twisting this," she snapped, her voice rising, her hands gesturing wildly. "You're making it sound like I'm some gold digger, when all I did was ask for space." I leaned against the wall, crossing my arms, my posture relaxed, but my gaze unflinching. "Space," I said, my tone dry, almost amused. "You didn't ask for space, Em. You said you don't want me near you. Strangers don't get to swipe my card at Nordstrom." I paused, letting the words land, my lips twitching into a smirk. "You want to play independent? Play it all the way." Lauren coughed, her eyes wide, trying to play peacemaker. "Okay, guys, maybe just take a breather." "No need." I cut in, my voice light but firm, my eyes still on Emily. She set the terms. "I'm just honoring them." Emily leaned forward, her voice dropping, trying to sound hurt now, her eyes glistening. "You're acting like I'm the bad guy here, Matt. I just needed time, and you're blowing this out of proportion." I tilted my head, my smile cold. "Time's free, Em. My money's not." I turned back to the kitchen, my heart racing but my steps steady. "Dinner's almost ready. You want some, Lauren?" I called over my shoulder, my tone casual, like the conversation was over. Lauren hesitated, then mumbled, No, I'm good." I caught her hiding a smirk as she glanced at Emily, who was silent, her tablet still blaring. My steak smelled damn good, and I felt a quiet thrill. Round two, mine. The next morning, I was driving to work, the radio off, the hum of the engine filling the car. For the first time in months, I'd slept through the night, no tossing or turning, no waking up to Emily's phone glowing at 3 a.m. My hands were steady on the wheel, my breathing even. I caught myself smiling, just a little. Life was starting to feel like mine again. At the office, the gossip had started to spread. I was in the break room, grabbing a soda, when Sarah, one of Emily's friends from the neighborhood, approached me. She worked in HR and had a knack for sticking her nose where it didn't belong. "Matt," she said, her voice dripping with fake concern, "I heard about you and Emily. Cutting her off like that? That's pretty harsh, don't you think?" I cracked open the can, the hiss loud in the quiet room. My jaw tightened, but I kept my tone casual, my eyes on her. "Harsh is telling your husband he's a stranger and expecting him to keep paying for your yoga classes," I said, my voice low but firm. "You want to play marriage counselor, Sarah? Start with her." She flinched, her cheeks pink, her mouth opening and closing. "I just think you could talk it out," she mumbled, her voice faltering, her hands fidgeting with her coffee cup. "No need," I said, taking a sip of my soda, my gaze steady. She said what she said. I heard her loud and clear. My heart was racing, but my voice was calm, my shoulders relaxed. Sarah backed off, muttering something about a meeting, and I felt a quiet thrill. Another jab dodged, another point scored. Later that day, my buddy Jake cornered me in the cafeteria, his tray loaded with pizza. He's a big guy, ex-Marine, with a no-bullshit attitude I've always respected. You look like you're about to snap, man, he said, leaning forward, his voice low. What's going on with you and Em? I took a bite of my sandwich, my jaw working as I chewed, my throat dry. She told me she's done with me as a husband, I said, keeping my tone even. So I cut her off the joint account. Now she's acting like I'm the bad guy for not rolling over. Jake whistled, shaking his head, his grin sharp. Damn, Matt, that's cold. But I get it. She's been running the show too long. You're just showing her what happens when you push someone too far. He clapped me on the shoulder, his hand heavy. Stay strong, man. Don't let her guilt you into folding. Women like that, they test you to see if you'll break. His words hit like a shot of adrenaline, grounding me. Jake had been through a divorce that left him broke and bitter for a while, so he knew the playbook. My hands stopped trembling, and I nodded, my voice steady. Appreciate it, man. I'm not folding. That evening, I got a push notification from Amazon while stuck in traffic. An order on my account. Skincare, yoga gear, a memory foam pillow. Emily's usual splurge, like nothing had changed. My fingers tightened on the steering wheel, my knuckles white, my pulse spiking. I canceled the order before the light turned green, my jaw set. When I got home, I left a post-it on the kitchen counter. If we're sleeping apart, we're shopping apart. Short, clear, no room for misinterpretation. 2 hours later, Emily cornered me in the dining room, her face tight with rage. You're acting like a cruel asshole, Matt, she said, her voice low and trembling, her hands clenched into fists. Canceling my orders? Really? This is who you are now. I leaned back in my chair, my hands resting on the table, my eyes locked on hers. You said it yourself, Em. I said, my voice calm but cold. Strangers don't sleep together. And they don't pay for each other's shit either. I paused, letting the words sink in, my pulse steady. You wanted to play this game. I'm just following your rules. She stepped closer, her voice rising, her eyes flashing. You're punishing me, she hissed, her hands gesturing wildly. All because I needed space? You're pathetic. I chuckled, low and dry, leaning forward slightly. Punishing you? Nah. I'm just done being your sugar daddy. My voice was steady, my eyes never leaving hers. You don't want me near you? Fine. But don't expect me to fund your skincare routine. Her lips pressed tight, her cheeks flushing red. She leaned in, her voice dropping, trying to sound hurt now. You're making this so much bigger than it needs to be, Matt. I just needed a break, and you're acting like I betrayed you. I tilted my head, my smile cold. A break from what, Em? From me? From us? You didn't say break. You said stranger. I'm just taking you at your word. My heart was pounding, but my voice was calm, my hands steady. She stared at me, her hands trembling, her breathing uneven. You're impossible, she muttered, turning away, her voice barely audible. Funny. I called after her, my tone light but sharp. That's what strangers say when they lose an argument. She didn't reply, just walked out, the door closing softly. My chest felt lighter, like I'd finally exhaled a breath I'd been holding for years. The next week was a masterclass in passive aggression. Emily left dishes piled in the sink, knowing I hate clutter. One night, she blasted pop music at 2 a.m., the bass thumping through the walls, waking me up. I lay in the guest room, my jaw tight, my heart racing, but I didn't bang on the door or yell. I grabbed my noise-canceling headphones, cranked some classic rock, and let the rhythm drown her out. My breathing slowed, and I smiled to myself in the dark. Her noise wasn't going to ruin my night. Another day, I noticed she'd stopped doing laundry. Her clothes were piling up in the hamper, but mine were untouched. Fine. I drove to Target after work, picked up new socks, boxers, and a couple of t-shirts. Standing in the checkout line, I felt a quiet satisfaction, my hands steady on the cart. I didn't need her to keep my life in order. I was doing just fine on my own. The neighborhood barbecue the following weekend was the next battlefield. Emily and I arrived separately, but everyone knew we were married. The backyard was packed, kids screaming, burgers sizzling, a Bluetooth speaker blasting classic rock. I was by the cooler, grabbing a soda, when I overheard Emily talking to a group of neighbors, her voice loud and theatrical. He's acting like I'm some freeloader, she said, her tone dripping with indignation, her hands gesturing for emphasis. Cutting me off because I needed space? It's humiliating. He's making me look like some broke loser in front of everyone. My neck heated up, my grip tightening on the can until it dented. I could have let it slide, but that wasn't me anymore. I walked over, my steps casual but deliberate, and stepped into their circle. If you're gonna tell stories, at least get the facts right, I said, my voice light but edged with steel, my eyes locked on hers. You said you don't want me near you, so I stopped. You started avoiding any contact, so I'm just respecting that. You want to live like roommates? Fine. Roommates pay their own way. The neighbors went quiet, their eyes darting between us. Emily's face turned red, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. You're making a scene, Matt, she hissed, her voice low and furious, her hands clenched into fists. I smiled, tight and cold, leaning forward slightly. You started the scene, Em. I'm just finishing it. I paused, letting the words land, my posture relaxed but my gaze unflinching. You want to air our laundry? Go ahead. But don't cry when it's your dirty socks on display. Sarah, standing nearby, coughed, her eyes wide. Matt, maybe this isn't the place. No, Sarah, it's perfect. I cut in, my voice calm but firm, turning to her. Em loves an audience. So let's be clear. She set the rules, I'm just playing by them. I turned back to Emily, my smile faint. Right, Em? Her lips pressed tight, her cheeks flushing deeper. She leaned in, her voice dropping, trying to sound wounded now. You're embarrassing me, Matt. Is that what you want? To make me look bad? I chuckled, low and dry, my eyes never leaving hers. You're doing a fine job of that yourself, Em. I turned and walked back to the cooler, my heart pounding but my steps steady. Behind me, I heard Sarah murmur something to Emily, and one of the guys let out a low chuckle. My lips twitched. Let them talk. I'd said what needed saying. A few days later, Emily tried a new tactic. I was in the living room, scrolling through work emails, when she walked in with 2 mugs of tea, her face carefully neutral, like she was auditioning for a truce. I made some chamomile, she said, her voice soft, almost sweet, setting a mug in front of me. Thought we could just talk. Like normal people. I looked at the mug, then at her, my jaw tight, my pulse steady. I'm not playing amnesia, Em, I said, my voice calm but cold, pushing the mug back toward her. You don't get to say I'm a stranger, then act like we're all good over a cup of tea. Her face faltered, her hands trembling slightly. Matt, I'm trying here, she said, her voice rising, a hint of frustration breaking through. Can't we just move past this? I leaned back, my arms crossed, my eyes locked on hers. Move past what? You telling me I'm nothing to you? Or you expecting me to keep paying for your life? My tone was even, but every word was deliberate. You don't get to erase what you said. I heard you, and I'm not forgetting. She stared at me, her lips pressed tight, her breathing uneven. You're so stubborn, she muttered, her voice breaking, her eyes glistening. I smiled, faint but sharp. No, Em. I'm just done playing your game. I turned back to my laptop, my hands steady, my heart racing but my focus clear. She stood there for a moment, then walked out, the tea untouched. My chest felt lighter, like I'd dodged another trap. The final showdown came 2 weeks later. Emily had been quieter, her usual antics dialed back, but I knew better than to trust the calm. I was in the home office, going over spreadsheets, when she walked in, her arms crossed, her face carefully neutral. We need to talk, Matt, she said, her voice steady but with a hint of something softer, like she was trying a new angle. I leaned back in my chair, my hands clasped behind my head, my eyes on hers. Go ahead, I said, my tone even, my pulse steady. My gut told me this was her last play. She sat across from me, her fingers fidgeting with her sleeve, her eyes avoiding mine. You're taking this too far, she said, her voice low, almost pleading. Cutting me off, canceling my orders, it's cruel. We're married. This isn't how you treat someone you love. My chest tightened, but I kept it locked down. Love's a two-way street. Em, I said, my voice calm but firm, leaning forward slightly. You don't get to shut me out, call me a stranger, and then expect me to keep funding your life. You became distant even at night, so I'm respecting that. You wanted space? You've got it. But don't cry foul when it comes with a price. Her eyes glistened, her lips trembling. You're acting like I'm the enemy, she said, her voice breaking, her hands clenching the edge of the desk. I just needed time to figure things out. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I tilted my head, my smile cold, my eyes unflinching. You didn't ask for time, Em. You drew a line and dared me to cross it. I didn't. I stepped back. I paused, letting the words sink in, my voice dropping lower. And now you're mad because I'm not begging you to change your mind. You don't get to have it both ways. She leaned forward, her voice rising, a mix of anger and desperation. You're so cold, Matt. I thought you loved me. Doesn't that mean anything? I chuckled, low and dry, my hands resting on the desk. I did, Em. But love doesn't mean letting you walk all over me. My voice was quiet, but every word was a bullet. You set the rules. I'm just playing by them. Her face crumpled, her hands shaking, her breathing uneven. You're impossible, she whispered, her voice cracking, her eyes pleading now. Can't we just try again? I leaned back, my smile faint but sharp. You made your choice, Em. I made mine. My voice was calm, final, like a door clicking shut. We're done here. She stood up, her face pale, and walked out, the door closing softly. My heart was steady, my breathing even. I'd said what needed saying, and for the first time, I felt like I was standing on solid ground. 2 months later, I was living alone. Emily moved out a week after that talk, renting a one-bedroom across town. I didn't ask her to leave. She chose it when she realized I wasn't budging. The house was mine again. No blaring tablets, no slammed doors, no passive-aggressive texts. My bank account was clean, my head clear. I was at a coffee shop one Saturday, scrolling through my phone, when Emily walked in. She looked tired, her hair pulled back, her eyes lacking their usual spark. She spotted me and hesitated before walking over. Matt, she said, her voice soft, almost fragile, her hands fidgeting with her latte. Can we talk? I nodded, leaning against the counter, my expression neutral, my pulse steady. Sure. She took a deep breath, her eyes avoiding mine. I didn't think it would end like this, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, her fingers tightening on her cup. I was frustrated. Yeah, but I didn't mean for us to fall apart. I miss you. I miss us. My chest tightened, but not with longing, with clarity. I took a sip of my coffee, letting her words hang in the air. You didn't miss me when you pushed me away, Em, I said, my voice calm but cold, my eyes locked on hers. You missed the life I paid for. That's not the same thing. Her face crumpled, her eyes welling up, her hands trembling. I messed up, okay? I know that now, she said, her voice breaking, her shoulders slumping. Can't we try again? I'm sorry, Matt. I set my cup down, my gaze steady, my smile faint but sharp. You made your choice, Em. I made mine. There's no going back. My voice was quiet, final, like a door slamming shut. I gave her a small nod and walked out, the sun warm on my face, the air clean. My steps were light, my breathing even. I paused outside the shop, leaning against my car, the keys cool in my hand. A quiet satisfaction settled in my chest, not bitterness, not regret, just clarity. This wasn't for nothing, I thought. She came looking for the past, but I'm already in the future. My heart was steady, my head clear. I got in the car and drove off, the road open ahead of me. Now, I'm back to my routine. Work, gym, dinner at the kitchen island. Jake invited me to a poker night last week, and I laughed harder than I had in years, the sound echoing in my chest. My wallet's in order, my head's quiet. The bed's just mine now, and it feels right. I don't chase. I don't look back. And I don't lose.